Hello, this is Gloomy Sunday, and once again, I will be sharing spooky stories that will send shivers down your thorny spine. Without further ado, let's begin tonight's creepy, spooky, and sometimes outlandish array of tales. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. In the small and whispering town of Marijampol in the country of Lithuania, where mist curled around ancient trees and secrets were etched into every stone, a spirited girl named Algemanta pursued a dream that few understood. She wanted to be a ghost hunter. With her tattered notebook and an old camera, she roamed the shadowy corners of abandoned buildings and moonlit meadows, seeking evidence of the paranormal. Algemanta thrived on the thrill of the unknown, dreaming of encounters that would make her the town's most celebrated ghost hunter. One fateful night, Algemanta ventured to the town's infamous Aist Manor, a decaying relic of the past rumored to be a hotspot for restless spirits. Gloom wrapped around the manor like a shroud, and the air crackled with a palpable energy. Heart racing, she pushed the heavy door open, its creak echoing through the vast emptiness within. She stepped inside, armed with nothing but her courage and an old flashlight that flickered ominously. As she wandered through the dusty halls, she felt an unsettling chill dance along her spine, as if 1,000 eyes were watching her. Suddenly, out of the corner of her eye, she saw a fleeting movement, a shadow darting past a broken window. The thrill of fear and excitement coursed through her veins, urging her to follow. But in the blink of an eye, the atmosphere shifted. The air grew thick, pressuring her lungs. A ghostly figure materialized before her, anger radiating from its spectral form. It was unlike any ghost Algemanta had ever encountered. Its piercing blue eyes glinted with a rage that shook her core. Before she could react, the spirit lunged at her, shackling her in a grip that felt like ice. Panic clawed at her mind, and she fought back instinctively, recalling the teachings of the folklore she cherished.
"Spirits can be reasoned with,"
she whispered, feeling a mix of fear and determination.
"What do you want?"
To her astonishment, the ferocious visage softened, and the ghost's icy grip dissipated like mist at dawn. The spirit unveiled a face that was hauntingly handsome, a tragic beauty that intoxicated her senses. Thick raven hair framed his chiseled features, and with each passing moment, Algemanta found herself captivated rather than frightened.
"I'm bound to this place,"
he said, his voice echoing like distant thunder, yet rich with sorrow.
"I cannot leave. My name is Orcus."
Despite the circumstances, Algemanta's heart raced, not from fear but from an inexplicable connection that pulsated between them. Night after night, she returned to Aist Manor to unravel his story, discovering that Orcus had lived centuries ago, a nobleman cursed to wander the world in limbo. As they shared tales of life and death, laughter and tears, an unforeseen bond blossomed. They fell in love, a romance that transcended the boundaries of their existence. Their souls entwined, Algemanta learned that love could bind even the most ethereal of beings. Under the silvery light of the moon, they called forth the spirits of the manor, finding a moment of harmony amidst the chaos of existence. Months passed, and as winter melted into spring, Algemanta discovered she was with child. A miracle woven from the fabric of their love, yet a mystery that defied the very laws of nature. The reality of her situation ignited a whirlwind of emotions. Could a human bear a child from a ghost? As Algemanta's belly grew, so did her fears. The town whispered in hushed tones, uncertain of her fate. But Orcus's love wrapped around her like an ethereal embrace, soothing her worries. He promised he would find a way to be with her, no matter the cost. One starry night, Algemanta wept for the first time at the thought of losing their fleeting moments. a life together that may never be.
We will find a way, Algemanta. Love knows no bounds.
Baucis murmured, his spirit glowing with determination. But fate played its cruel hand. As Algemanta's due date approached, the bond became a double-edged sword, drawing the attention of malevolent spirits in the manor. Those who resented the love that flourished between a ghost and a human. They sought vengeance on Algemanta, threatening her and their unborn child. In a night wrought with chaos, darkness engulfed the manor, and the vengeful spirits swarmed around her, intent on tearing them apart. Baucis fought valiantly to protect her, his silhouette a beacon in the obsidian night. With a surge of ferocity, he channeled the very essence of their love into a pulse of energy that shattered the dark entities surrounding them. In the throes of the battle, as Algemanta faced her deepest fears, she felt something inside her awaken, a powerful force sculpted from belief and hope.
You belong to me.
She cried into the shadows, defiant and resolute. With the final throes of his energy, Baucis vanquished the malevolent spirits, but at a terrible cost. Light erupted around him, blurring their final moments together.
Love can bridge any divide.
He whispered, his essence flickering. As dawn broke upon Marijampol, Algemanta awoke alone among the remnants of the manor, cradling the soft warmth of her child. In her heart, the echoes of Baucis's love lingered, and as she looked into the eyes of her newborn, a deep, penetrating blue, she knew he would live on, a beautiful reminder of a love that defied death. Years passed, and Algemanta became the most revered ghost hunter of Marijampol, telling tales not of terror, but of love. She raised her son, teaching him about the beauty of spirits and the legends of their lineage. In the gentle whispers of the wind and the stories that danced in the depths of the night, Baucis remained alive, forever entwined with the heart of the girl who dared to love a ghost. What a romantic story. Would you also fall in love with a ghost? I mean, I would, if the ghost looked like my crush, Henry Cavill. My knees would probably turn like jelly or something. But enough of that, let's read the next spooky story. This story is about my father's experience when he was back in the Philippines. It took place several years after the Second World War had ended and some people had to recede into the forests. During the night, the men would go into nearby villages that had been evacuated or raided to see what was left, whether if it were food, supplies, or survivors. On one particular night, my father and his older brother had decided to go explore a village that they heard was abandoned. Back in those days, my father said that people would hang meat on the walls of their homes to dry, and that was what he and his brother were hoping to find. That night, it was very dark and difficult for them to see. All they had was a single gas lantern, and the moonlight to guide them. The only weapons they had brought with them were their knives and crossbows strapped on their backs. On the walk there, they were surrounded by darkness and the silhouettes of the trees. All they could hear were their footsteps and could hardly see their hands in front of their faces. As they followed the lonesome, grainy trail into the village, they came across some empty homes. Everyone in that village had fled, taking whatever they could in a hurry. With nothing they could take in the first few homes, they soon came across a medium-sized shanty home that had a roof made of straw and had woven wall panels. My father, with the lantern in his hand, followed along the walls and throughout the home using his hand to guide him. His brother asked him,
"Can you feel anything?"
My father replied,
"No, I don't think there's anything here and it's hard to see."
But after a few moments of feeling around, my father felt something hanging along the walls. He said to his brother,
"Hey, I think I found something. But it's kind of big. I think it's a horse. It has long hair. It smells, and it's kind of stiff.
Because of the dim lantern, my father couldn't make out what he was looking at until he held it closer to the subject he was touching. After seeing what he had in his hand, my father immediately freaked out and stumbled his way out of the home. As he panicked, he tripped on the step of the doorway and fell on his back, breaking his crossbow. His brother ran after him, not knowing why he was so frightened. After catching up with him, he yelled at my father,
"Why did you run? You have the light." "I couldn't see."
Out of breath, my father said,
It was a face. It's girl hanging on the wall. I thought she was a horse because of her long hair, and then I realized I was touching her face.
His older brother, not convinced in what he saw, decided that they should go back and confirm if it was true. Though my father was scared, he was convinced in what he saw and was determined to prove his brother wrong. They both went back into the home and shined the lantern on the body hanging on the wall. Sure enough, it was the body of a young girl. My father described her as a teenager, between the age of 15 to 17, and she was pregnant. Her body was already changing colors, and she was stiff with her toes pointing downward. She was in a tattered dress, but even though her body was decaying, he could tell that she used to be a pretty girl. By looking at her, they weren't sure how she died. Their fear eventually turned to sadness. And after that, they went back into the jungle without finding any food. "Why did they hang her body?" I asked. My father replied,
Back in those days, people would hang dead bodies on their walls. Whoever hung her probably left her like that because they didn't have time to bury her when they fled.
I don't know about you, but the story gave me the chills. I think war brings out the worst in people. Let's hope that we never have to experience anything like that. Hope you enjoyed our spooky and strange stories. Join us next time for more. Take care and boo-bye.